What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we're going to get into Infinity War spoilers. Now, I told you guys it was going to take me a few days to get a spoiler review reaction out because I wanted to see the film again, but it's not looking like I'm going to be able to see this movie again until probably Tuesday because I have a lot going on and I'm trying to go in IMAX, and almost every IMAX showing is sold out, and I want to go with my family, so I've taken some time and I've thought about some things. I've watched several spoiler reviews myself, and I've taken some notes of my own. And so one thing I normally don't do is read notes when I make videos. I might read articles, but when I'm giving you my opinions, I'm not reading notes. I'm giving it to you straight. But I'm going to be reading some notes that I've taken down. So let's jump right into it because I want to keep this under 15 minutes if possible. All right, so let me get this out of the way right now. All right. We all know that they are not really dead. We all know that this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're not going to kill half of their characters, especially characters like Star-Lord and Black Panther. I fully understand that. I am not an idiot. I don't need people to point out the fact that these characters are not dead. All I'm trying to do is judge this film for what it did in the beginning all the way to the end. Because if you really want to nitpick to that point, why don't we just point out the fact that none of this shit is real anyway? So suspend your belief a little bit, take everything into consideration, and just don't be a dick about it. We understand they're not really dead, just like they're not really these characters they're portraying. So, as a professional wrestling fan, just watch it for what it is. Alright, let's get into this. Now, I want to start off with something I've been struggling with. Now, for a lot of you probably don't know this, one of my favorite characters in the MCU is Gamora. I love Gamora. I heard rumors about her demise in this film, and I was hoping it wasn't true. But considering her relationship with Thanos, I knew it was possible. So I was prepared for her to die. I was not prepared for it to go the way it went. And I think I'm looking at this from a fan standpoint and not appreciating it from a story standpoint. I don't know. Something about it doesn't feel right to me because, first of all, I'm a father to a daughter, so that whole moment really hit me hard, especially like the backstory we got with Thanos and Gamora. Very powerful, very incredible stuff. I was thrilled to see that. Then the part where he had an altered reality and she thought she killed him, and then once he's dead, she starts crying, showing the emotion and all the pain she's been through. I thought that was phenomenal. Then we get to the point where she is captured by Thanos and Peter is pointing the gun at her. At that point, we didn't get enough emotion, at least in my opinion, from Peter. I didn't feel a whole lot of, there was definitely emotion there, but I'm talking about like Scarlet Witch and Vision type of emotion, and we didn't get that. And then he pulled the trigger. He pulled the trigger to kill her. And obviously it was altered reality again. Thanos was messing with them and bubbles came out, but he literally pulled the trigger to kill her. And it didn't seem like there was enough emotion behind him to go through with that. That's just maybe that's a nitpick on my part, but that's just how I feel about it. And then obviously Thanos takes her. Obviously Thanos kills her. That scene was fine. That all was wonderfully done. I didn't love seeing it because I do love this character, but it was executed wonderfully. Then we get back to where the Avengers, Tony Stark and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and Peter Quill are all fighting Thanos, and we get to the point where Peter Quill ruins that whole entire moment because then his emotions show up. And I don't know. The whole thing felt weird to me. It felt weird to me, and maybe when I watch it again, now that I understand it, maybe it'll set better with me. I don't know. But that whole thing with her and Peter just didn't land as good as I wanted it to, because I do love both of those characters. I think they have great on-screen chemistry. I buy their relationship. Her death, maybe I'm just because I'm a fan of her, maybe I just looked at it differently, and I'm not holding that against the film. This film is amazing. So anyway, Gamora's death it was a little weird for me because of the aspect with Peter, but the execution was amazing because Thanos is amazing. All right, let's move on. I spent too much time on that. All right, so I do want to, let's see. All right, so Groot. Okay, Groot. I don't know how they continue to pull this character off, but they have never failed with Groot in every aspect. And the angry teenager playing video games with his attitude, yet he still has this couple of moments. Just, I loved it so much. I love Groot. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians is still my favorite Marvel film. This film, though, it's close, but I love the Guardians. All right, and I'm going to jump all around here because this is how I took my notes. I did not understand at the moment when everyone was turning to dust. I didn't understand that they were actually dying when it first happened until Peter Parker went to hug Tony Stark. And in that moment, that was where you knew it was real. And it was like, wow, they're dying. And you saw a terrified little kid clinging on to his mentor. Basically, Tony is his Uncle Ben. Shout out to our webmaster, Nick, for throwing that out at me and putting that in my head. But yes, I mean, you know, Tony is Uncle Ben to him, and the way he clinged to Tony and the way he was like, telling him how he didn't want to die, that was powerful. And that's Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker. That was deep right there, and that hit me hard. Because, again, I wasn't fully understanding, like, what are they doing? Are they going to another place? Are they going to another... And ultimately, that may turn out what it is. But when Peter Parker did it and he showed the emotion, I was like, wow, that was incredible. So that was a really deep moment for me. Let's get back to Thanos, because Thanos is one of the greatest villains I've ever seen. He's not topping Heath Ledger's Joker. He's not topping Darth Vader. But he's damn sure close. Closer than I thought anybody could get in the MCU. This arc that they gave Thanos blew my mind, because unlike Ledger's Joker, unlike Darth Vader until the end of Return of Jedi, we got to see Thanos be this fierce monster killing machine, but we also got to see an emotional side of him where he cared. And he did have a side of humanity to him to an extent. And his love for Gamora and the emotions he felt. And it was incredible. The layers that they did with this character, it was unbelievable. And one of the points is Loki was once considered an all-time great villain. And Thanos treated him like a background extra that was hired on a weekend to come get killed on The Walking Dead. Holy crap. Like, wow. I gotta tell you, Disney, for all of your mistakes in Star Wars, you had some giant balls in this film. And it's incredible. Thanos, though. The layers, the emotion, Josh Brolin's performance, the CG is some of the best I've ever seen. Unbelievable job with Thanos. And this is Thanos' movie. Make no mistake about it. It really is. And for that reason, that's why this movie succeeds so well, because you have so many of the heroes that we've all come to know and love, and all of their arcs have been phenomenal to get us to this point. But you didn't have time to really give any of them true focus. But Thanos, it was his movie, and this is exactly what it should have been. And damn it if they didn't pull it off exceptionally well. So, alright, so the comedy bits, especially with Thor and Star-Lord, are some of the best in the MCU ever. Incredible stuff. I loved how Star-Lord was so intimidated by Thor, because what guy wouldn't be intimidated by Thor? What guy standing there with your girlfriend wouldn't be like, what the, like, you would feel like the biggest twerp ever. So I just loved that aspect. I loved how Star-Lord was imitating him. It was fantastic. Two of the best lines in the movie are, what was it? It was, where is Gamora? Who is Gamora? And then Batista. And then Drax comes in and says, I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora? It's like, what? So good. And then the I am Groot, and then Cap says, I am Steve Rogers. And I was like, my God, man. The comedy is off the charts in this movie. And again, I've been critical of the MCU because of the comedy elements in certain scenes, and it takes away from the emotional moments or the serious moments. But in this movie, and now again, it might change on a second viewing, but all I remember is the comedy was as spot on as I could have ever asked for. And just a great job by the Russo brothers. Phenomenal, because that is a very, very tough That's a very tough balancing act right there, and they pulled it off 100%. All right, so Captain America is my favorite MCU character, my favorite Marvel character. Chris Evans as Captain America is as good of a superhero casting that we have ever seen. And I thought he was fine in this movie. He clearly didn't get he probably had the best moments outside of Thor from the Avengers standpoint. I thought he was fine. So you can't go into it expecting that. I don't know why I'm telling people that, because if you're watching this, you've seen the film, hopefully. But so Cap was serviceable, and he was good because he's always going to be good. I just was hoping for maybe a little more, but I understand why we didn't get more. All right. Doctor Strange's death was amazing. It was powerful, and I love Benedict Cumberbatch, and I loved his performance in this movie, and the sacrifice he made because he still died protecting that stone, and the dialogue between he and Tony, that whole scene was really great, really powerful, and I wanted to point that out. Okay, so I talked about this earlier, but Scarlet Witch and Vision and that whole scene where she had to destroy the stone knowing it was going to kill Vision, that was the emotion I was looking for with the Star-Lord Gamora situation. And yeah, the music, all of the tension, it was incredibly well done and well shot, and just the acting by, what's her name? It's something Olsen. Is it Ashley Olsen? I can't remember. But it's just the acting performance between them was so good, and their connection was so strong, and I felt that shit really. I felt it, and I was in the theater just on the edge of my seat. That scene was incredible. Let's see. Let me see if I've missed any notes here real quick. Let's see. Oh, I forgot this one on a comedy beat was Thor and Rocket and the whole rabbit thing. I've heard some people say that the rabbit thing got a little overdone. I disagree with you 100%. Every time Thor called him rabbit, it was spot on, and it was just so good. It was so good. And this was Thor's movie. If there was any Avenger that got the spotlight, it was Thor. And I'm going to say this right now. I liked the first Thor movie. I hated Thor: The Dark World. Ragnarok, I liked Ragnarok the first time I saw it. The second time I saw it, I still think it's a good movie. It's fine, but it didn't land for me as good the second time. This movie is the best Thor movie to date, hands down. Chris Hemsworth was incredible in this movie. Easily his best performance as Thor. Easily the best Thor movie. Unbelievable job by him. Let's see. I know, I'm sorry, I hate wasting time going through all of these notes. I just want to make sure there's nothing else I'm forgetting. The post-credit scene. So we get Nick Fury. When he starts seeing all hell breaking loose, he goes to send a message, and then he disintegrates. We see that he was calling Captain Marvel. And I don't want to speculate on any of that because I have read literally nothing. I know nothing about any of the plans for what they're doing. I have stayed away from everything, and this kind of goes post-Infinity War. I don't know anything they're planning. Obviously, they're planning to bring these characters back, and I'm not oblivious to that fact, but I don't want to know anything right now because I'm still just dealing with what we just experienced with this film. And so I think this is the single greatest achievement in superhero film outside of Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. This is, the more I've thought about this, because in my initial review, I started out saying I really like this movie and I think I loved it. And more I talked about it in my review. I was like, I really do think I love this movie. And then I've talked to several of my friends about it. We've had discussions. I've gotten context on certain scenes. I can't wait to see it again. I'm probably going to see this movie 4 or 5 times in theaters. It's worth it. But it's not my favorite Marvel film at this point. My favorite MCU film is still Guardians of the Galaxy, and I still love Civil War. But it's definitely right there in the conversation, and multiple viewings are definitely going to probably help elevate it even more. And I'm blown away at what the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige have done. And I'll say this, as a person that has historically, I've always kind of been down on the MCU, not like negative, like I criticize it. Just for me personally, it hasn't always motivated me, inspired me. I've always been, like I've said 100 times, I'm a Dark Knight trilogy guy. That's the type of tone that I like. But I do enjoy the Marvel films. Infinity War has completely changed my perception of this entire universe. And I find myself now wanting to go back and watch all of these films from the past 10 years. Not that I haven't seen all of them multiple times, but I now that I know where we are, where we've ended up, it's made me really appreciate what it took to get us there. And especially with me being a Star Wars fan and being so frustrated with what's going on with Star Wars right now, it's really made me appreciate the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And at this point, to me, I feel like the MCU is our Star Wars, because Star Wars is, for the most part, dead as long as Kathleen Kennedy is there. And so, just a phenomenal job by Kevin Feige, Disney, everybody involved. This is an achievement that I think is going to shatter records, and it's going to set a standard moving forward that is going to be hard to top. And I think we're all very, very lucky that we've had an opportunity to experience such an incredible moment. And the balls it took, I get it. Listen, I've said it in the opening. I know the fucking characters are not really dead. Just like I know that Tony Stark is not really just like I know that Robert Downey Jr. is not really flying around in an Iron Man suit. Okay, I get it. But based on what we have, how this movie ended, how the stakes have been played out, this is an incredible achievement, and I will stand by that. I can't wait to see it again. What do you guys think? Did I miss anything you wanted me to talk about? If I need to do a follow-up video, I will. Like I said, I really wanted to see this movie a couple of times before I did a spoiler review, but decided with everything I have going on, I'm not going to be able to go for a few more days, and I wanted to get some content out to you guys. So let's talk about it. If you want me to further expand on my thoughts, I will be more than happy to do that. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you later.